Welcome to the bold analysis. 2024, the President William Samoei Ruto has done 3 reshuffles. And whenever he is faced with a challenge in government, the only place he resorts to is the cabinet. In July, after the Gen Z protest, the whole cabinet was sent home and only some 2 fellows remained. In August the same year, the president did the first cabinet reshuffle in response to Gen Z protests. The cabinet was reconstituted, and what it saw is ODM wing injecting some of its members in cabinet in a move that was seen as just quelling the protest, because the president believed that the protest was never the rage on government policies and agenda rather than finance bill, but was politically instigated. But as that was going on, in December, the president have yet done another cabinet reshuffle immediately in response to the Rigathi Gachagua impeachment, and of course at a time the country or the president is facing hostility in Mount Kenya. So the question that I want us to answer in this: what is the 2027 matrix in this cabinet reshuffle? And is it politically going to be, is it going to be strategically right for the president always to fix governance by going to reshuffle the cabinet? Or the cabinet is the only tool of manipulation that is at disposal of President Ruto? Watch this video to the end. Remember, yesterday I am the first analyst that held a position that it is not Uhuru Kenyatta who is behind those fellows in cabinet. William Ruto made personal decision on those picks to achieve some varied political objectives, not even attached to the president. But just before we delve more into that, guys, I have a very urgent appeal I would want us to come through here. Charles, you are seeing here, collapsed sometime 3 weeks ago, just in the place he stays around Kayole. He was rushed by the neighbors to Mama Lucy Hospital, but he could not be admitted because he needed oxygen. So from there he was transferred to another private facility known as Radiant. And in Radiant, he was in oxygen for nearly a week, but he came out and now is stranded in that hospital. The bill is 290,000, but of importance is how that bill can be sorted. I've tried talking to fellows there. If we can be able to raise half of that money, probably 150,000, he can be relieved. But of course, with that situation, immediately was taken, he was admitted there and was confirmed to be having meningitis. So this is something that now needs to be managed. And Charles, you're seeing there, doesn't seem to have a support system. He doesn't have a family here. The only person available that can take care of him is a brother who stays in Seme. So what, as Team Bold, I would request us to do is at least raise that 150,000 and another 35,000 so that he can be taken to Seme by Red Cross on Monday morning. We are running that appeal urgently. And thank you very much for those who are responding. I'm still imploring on you that kindly come through. Hapa watu nasema kidogo kidogo hujaza kibaba. I believe that you can be able to come through, pull through for Charles.
Na nilikuwa naomba usaidizi, nisaidiwe. Hospitali hii mahali niko nishatibiwa, kweli wameshanitibu. Sasa pesa imepanda 290. Sasa wanataka kusimamisha matibabu. Sasa naomba kama inawezekana, kama inaweza badilishwa libadilishwe kwa sababu hakuna matibabu inaendelea. Ndio.
Now, I want to say this. Since the information about the cabinet reshuffle emerged, I have seen a very simplistic and predictable narrative. The four injected fellows, Kembi Gitura, I've confirmed the chairman of Kenyatta University is actually from Muranga. He's a Muranga politician. Thank you for a correction. I saw that in the comment section. And then Nderitu Murithi is been taken to chair the KRA. Then Lee Kinyanjui is going to the Ministry of Trade. Mutai Kagwe is going to the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock. And then we have Kabogo going to the Ministry of ICT and Communications. I want to say here that the fact that Ruto is moving, seeking Mount Kenya vote with this is very predictable and very open. But if you listen to the sound bites from Fanyamambo, Kinuthia Fanyamambo, you really see that Uhuru Kenyatta cannot help Ruto winning back the mountain, not even Rigathi Gachagua.
Our eyes are firmly fixed on removing President William Ruto from power in 2027 through the ballot. And anybody who tends to work with the man they want to remove, for sure, they will not want to see that person. So Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, if you are clever, don't join a sinking ship. Ruto had lost Mount Kenya, and he has lost Mount Kenya. There's no thinking about it. And because now Rigiji looked like he was the door to Mount Kenya and he can't go back through Rigiji, he's trying to go back even if it means going back through the window. And Embu was an eye-opener for him. He said, oh, the mountain loves Uhuru, so let me call to Uhuru and see if I can go back to Mount Kenya. So that looks for him like the only window through which he could go into Mount Kenya. But Mount Kenya is telling him, in fact, there's a song trending in Mount Kenya, in Kikuyu is saying we can't go back to our oppressors. Kwawainga, that's what they are calling it. I think that meeting was about their interests. It was about William Ruto trying to protect power and trying to stay in power as much as possible. It's an act of desperation, if you ask me, because the president who withdrew security from that home has literally had to go to the same home that he thought was not worthy of being provided with security. The minute Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta joins hands with William Ruto, he loses his credibility. He loses all the cheer, and our eyes are firmly fixed on removing President William Ruto from power in 2027 through the ballot. And anybody who tends to work with the man they want to remove, for sure, they will not want to see that person. So Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, if you are clever, don't join a sinking ship. Ruto had lost Mount Kenya, and he has lost Mount Kenya. There's no thinking about it. And because now Rigiji looked like he was the door to Mount Kenya and he can't go back through Rigiji, he's trying to go back even if it means going back through the window. And Embu was an eye-opener for him. He said, oh, the mountain loves Uhuru, so let me call to Uhuru and see if I can go back to Mount Kenya. So that looks for him like the only window through which he could go into Mount Kenya. But Mount Kenya is telling him, in fact, there's a song trending in Mount Kenya, in Kikuyu is saying we can't go back to our oppressors. Kwawainga, that's what they are calling it. I think that meeting was about their interests. It was about William Ruto trying to protect power and trying to stay in power as much as possible. It's an act of desperation, if you ask me, because the president who withdrew security from that home has literally had to go to the same home that he thought was not worthy of being provided with security. The minute Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta joins hands with William Ruto, he loses his credibility. He loses all the cheer, and all the cheer he had will turn into jeer.
Ogo. Sasa nani atakwambia mlima ilienda? Mlima ilienda kitambo, Kasogo. Stop wasting political positions na mlima. Ati unatupatia mambo ya ministry. Mlima imetoa president wa 3. 3 presidents. Sisi watu wa kuonyesha meno sababu ati tumepewa ministries. Ministries ni vitu tudogo, Kasogo. Ukitaka watu wafurahie kwa sababu ya ministries, peleka hizo viti Nyanza na huko saidi za Somali. Hao watafurahia sana, Kasogo. Hata sasa unatupatia watu reject. Watu tulimalizana nao kitambo. Sasa Kavogo surely.
Now that is the sound, that is the kind of sound the mountain is speaking. Now, out of those three, I can tell you from my personal opinion, Mutahi Kagwe is a big deal. Mutahi Kagwe is a senior government, was a senior minister in the under Mwai Kibaki, worked under Uhuru Kenyatta, and I think even when, by the time transition was happening, Ruto could lead everyone, but he needed to pick Mutahi Kagwe from the word go. There's a pick from Uhuru's cabinet. To me, one of the best was actually Mutahi Kagwe, and the way he managed COVID, even though the whole COVID was later riddled by scandals. But he's really a gem in managing government. So unlike Raila, who came up and took the bragging rights, we are yet to see whether Uhuru Kenyatta will come out and say, I have donated experts. Of course, the Jubilee axis is the one that has been absorbed in government. In fact, Mount Kenya is completely gone, and the climax of the president now expects, and I can tell you this, is the time any of these three cabinet secretaries will be heckled in Mount Kenya. The kind of venom being planted against William Ruto, I can say I don't come from that region, but when you listen to how the leaders from that place are talking, I can tell you, William Ruto should not expect that this cabinet injections is going to change anything on ground. Listen to Medu.
Najenga barabara kutoka Mwandandu ipige pale panaitwa Bainange ikielekea huko kunaitwa tumetenga. Iko barabara nitajenga kutoka Jambini ikielekea huko kwa Kimathi na hizo Mama Kimathi. Naweka pesa bilioni 100 pale Jambini niweke hospitali ya Jambini. Hii watu ya Nyandarua siku nyingi wamewachwa nyuma, tutaweka pesa pale engineer ili waje kwenda hospitali Naivasha, wakuwa naenda hapo engineer. Nitaweka barabara ya kutoka Ndonyunjeru kwenda mpaka Igize na tutaweka pesa hapo. Iko barabara yetu ya kutoka pale Ndonyunjeru kwenda pale Geita ifike mpaka Kapteni, ilikuwa kidogo lakini tutatengeneza. Iko industrial park watu ya Nyandarua siku nyingi mmekuwa mkiuza viazi yenu kama haijatengenezwa, nimetengeneza kiwanda pale Jambini, nimeshaweka tayari shilingi milioni 500. Ikifikia mwezi ujao tutakuja tuanzishe huo mradi ili watu wetu wapate mahali ya kuuza viazi. Watu ya hapa siku nyingi wamekuwa kiuza maziwa bei kidogo, nitaweka kura 25 na kuanzia kesho wewe Patricia mkuje na huyu Senator Mezu ndio tupange maneno hiyo. Iko barabara yetu hapa ilikuwa kutoka Kariamu kwenda Kapteni kwenda Niko kana tiguo. Ni mwana iwa kigogo. Ni mwana iwa kigogo. Ni mwana onakihigia. Muri mwana akihigia. Ona turaugire ihinda riki agiuka. Kwaria manati kuga uru. Mafiuda kabe gutwirira kindu ki.
Now, that is a ridiculous video. Now, having belabored that, the 2027 eye on that reshuffle was Mount Kenya, of course, to counter Gachagua, but all that was actually planned to be the talk of town, was planned to be the smoke screen, was planned to be the headline. If you look at the headline, Uhuru joins government. That is the headline. I can tell you, from where I am seated, Kipchumba Murkomen pick to go to interior is what Kenyans should pay attention to. And that move is not getting attention for the country because people are glued on the Mount Kenya picks. But on my end, the Mount Kenya angle was smoke screen. Kipchumba Murkomen going to interior is the long sword that the president was actually preparing. You need to understand that it has taken you know, unexpectedly too long for the interior docket to get a replacement. Kindiki was sworn in October. We are in December 20th. Actually, December 20th is when we are swearing in, is when we are replacing the interior docket. And the president have been in big dilemma on who to pick to replace Kithure Kindiki. The interior docket is a big concern because remember ODM wing was also lobbying, and they were saying, having stood by government, having saved President Ruto from collapse, the president needed to reward them by that docket. And several names were thrown here and there seeking that position. But again, after, and I wanted to pay attention because the government was divided. The government has there are two powerful positions in cabinet, two powerful cabinet slots. One is interior, the other one is treasury. Now, when 2022 cabinet was formed, the treasury went to GEMA, Kekuyu, and that was Njuguna Ndung'u. And the interior went to GEMA, Kikuyu, that was Kithure Kindiki. As we start now the two have all been snatched from Mount Kenya. The treasury has gone to Mbadi. Now the interior has gone back to the Kalenjin mafia. I want to say this. Ruto understands the Kenya Kwanza rage, the kind of rage Kenya Kwanza is undergoing, but the happenings of 2025 and between 2025 to 2027, it might not be different. In fact, I agree with one of our subscribers who said in the comment section that Murkomen going to interior is clearest indication that William Ruto is appointing himself in that docket. Murkomen are not just, is not just an ordinary pick. Murkomen represents William Ruto's inner circle. And for quite some time, the country has been arguing that William Ruto went and loaded the Somali cluster in the security docket. And to that end, something is very critical. I can tell you it was in his interest, even away from this Gen Z protest now, it was in his interest that by the time he is heading to 2027 general election, interior is under his arms. And I can tell you for one reason or the other, Kithure Kindiki was not going to be the interior CS by the time the country was going for the general election. That was not going to happen whatsoever the case. So, why do you think Murkomen has been taken to the interior docket? And that is the news in that cabinet reshuffle. Murkomen is being planted in the interior docket to re-engineer and facilitate 2020 and fix 2027 re-election dirty schemes. Let me tell you, it is in that docket that it is the interior that can be used for voter suppression. It is in that docket that can be used to suppress the competitors, or rather the opposition. There is going to be IBC reconstitution by next year, 2025, and by-elections are coming. It is the interior that can be used to fix those by-elections. And to my end, I can tell you that the president, having seen what happened in the Gen Z protest earlier this year, has decided to pick his own man for the security docket. And I may be wrong, but I see Murkomen as planting William Ruto's personal operative to checkmate IG Kanja. And I can tell you that ministry will be managed from State House. The moment you have Murkomen, interior docket will be managed by the Sudis, the Farouk Kibets. These are the people that will make the decisions from State House on what is done, because it is a dirty deal. It is the dirty scheme ministry. And remember, Douglas Kanja, the IG, the new IG who replaced Kome, is from Nyeri, so he's from Mount Kenya. When there is, the president understands that there was rage in the way everything was handled by that protest, even though ministry have tried to distance themselves from it. This time round, and I've listened to Kithure Kindiki, and I really sometimes want to believe him. I listened to Kindiki. Kindiki says that he was not involved in police operation to some end. And sometimes I really want to believe him. So, if that is the case, that the ministry is supposed to do policy, this time round the interior is going to do police operations, is going to conduct in charge of the police operations if there is any sign of protest happening. Ruto is also averting rebellion from the Kalenjin axis. Remember, if you go to 2027, the Kalenjin will also start asking, so what is in it for us? Apart from you, the president, umetupatia nini? I think that is also another question. Last aspect is every move by the president must always have an interest in the foresight. There could also be a possibility of huge tender interests at the interior docket moving forward. And don't be shocked that police uniform tender is floated back, or even better still, I have seen the interior PS, Raymond Omolo, talking about body cameras.
We are working on introducing what has worked in other jurisdictions for the police, what we are calling the body cameras. And in other jurisdictions, you find with the introduction of these body cameras, in most cases, you end up with a situation where actually the culprits are actually not even the police. Now, this is going to give us a very good opportunity where we are able to play out what is even the level of interaction. What has this person said or discussed with the police even before someone is charged, or either there is an assault or someone has been arrested. And for me, this is something that is going to be a big game changer, not just in helping us fight or curb corruption, but also to deal with other criminal elements or aspects of what we see.
That is going to be a huge tender. That is going to be a huge tender, and for Ruto strategically to get the right people for it, Murkomen has to be there. Lastly, I see Murkomen being also streamlined to take up a position in 2032, or rather in William Ruto succession. If he works for Ruto and Ruto gets second term, is cleverly going to be put in that seat. But ladies and gentlemen, that is my take. Let's meet in the next, and I want to leave you the video of our project, Watamu project, that we completed. Meanwhile, let's support Charles so that we can take Charles home to get someone to take care of him. Welcome to the Bold Analysis. Thank you guys. I'm back. Team Bold Network. Asanteni sana. I'm back to Watamu. This is Edison.
Yeah.
And Harrison. Yes, so I'm just going to give all of them, both of them, to acknowledge the work we have done. They're going to give so much of what we're going to do apart from the house. This was the model of the wheelchair that we are doing. So this has already been brought. This is the first one. So pale wanaweka hizi vitu za kukando inaekwa. So ya hii iko somewhere there. This is the model wheelchair, the ones that we are designing. So after they're done with this, then another one is going to be brought. But already they have these ones. Now, Harrison, tuambie mambo nyumba imefika aje na umekuwa namna gani?
The house is completed, but Still they work hard. They work to make sure they paid the house inside, and then we say thank you for the supporters, for supporting us to make us the house. Nashukuru Mungu sana kwa hii nyumba ambayo mmenisaidia kujenga. Tulikuwa hatuna mahali kwa kulala na kuishi, lakini tunashukuru kwa msaada ambao mmetufanyia. Yani tunashukuru, mmejengwa. Sasa bado mafuta naendelea tu kupaka rangi humo ndani, yani kupaka rangi humo ndani kumalizia hiyo nyumba. Alafu pia tunaomba msaada tunaomba msaada wa choo, yani choo tuchimbie pia hiyo choo, manake tutashukuru sana kwa huo msaada yani.
So guys, this issue of the choo, there's already a toilet here, but it's a very filthy state, and kwa sababu wao hawezi scroll through, we have already discussed with them. They are going to point out where we can do the chore. So immediately after Christmas, that is the next thing we will come back here to do. Josh is doing the work. Josh, tuambie nyumba umefikisha wapi bana? Umechukua muda sana, but tuambie umefikisha wapi and what is remaining.
Okay, thank you. My name is Joshua. Nimekuwa nikisimama hapa kusimamia hii ujenzi. Nashukuru sana for the support. By now, if you see the outside, we have painted, and now we are going on to accomplish the inside part of the house. And the only thing that the main only thing that is remaining is just to paint the inside. And after plaster. Yes, plaster we have finished. Only small finishing we are doing there. And the only thing that is remaining, the main thing is to paint the inside, so that the house can at least shine. So I'm also appreciating so much for your support, and may God bless you for supporting the two brothers who could not afford to have their own house, and now that at least they are well relieved. And thank you very much for this organization. I'm so much pleasant, and I'm so much comfortable and happy for your support. Thank you very much.
You're going to do cash transfer. Yeah, Edison, yeah, umesema biashara ni
ya kuuza njugu.
So you're going to support that, kuuza njugu. And yako ni ya?
Yangu ni ya kuuza ice cream. Yes, ice cream.